Hello, I'm Tom Bailey, and in today's Speaker Stories episode, I'll be getting to know Dave Daniel, who is a consultant and corporate speaker agent for DPD Consultancy and Speaker Associates, and has lived and breathed the world of speaking since 1996 when he joined the CSA Celebrity Speakers Bureau. So, Dave, hello, and a very warm welcome to today's episode.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. And just out of interest for everyone listening, whereabouts in the world are you right now?
I'm in Buckinghamshire, just outside Windsor, which is
Excellent.
where the King lives. I was going to say Queen then, but obviously,
Fan-
one.
they're fantastic. Yeah, I know it very well. A lovely part of the world. And you've also stated in your bio that you've worked with the good and the great of the speaking world, including speakers such as Neil Armstrong and Pele, just to name a couple.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great to really get your insight, what happens behind the stage as such. But before I do that, I wanted to ask you, have you ever wanted to try your hand at speaking, or do you prefer being behind the stage?
Never,
No.
never. Not my thing at all. I've always been someone behind doing what I do behind it. I've been in the speaking industry since '96, as you said. Before that, I was in the music industry as a tour manager and a promoter. So I've always been someone in the background putting it together rather than being the person on the stage. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Yeah, I know the feeling. And was it a accidental shift from music into speaking industry, or did it happen because you wanted to progress into that area?
No, it was when back in '96, I was just coming to the end of being a promoter. I was a promoter for myself and a friend of mine, and I just had my first child, who's
Hmm.
now obviously not a child anymore.
Hmm.
And I thought, you know what, it's about time I got a real job, because being a promoter for yourself
Hmm.
is not it's not a wage that comes in every week, so to speak. And now I've
Yeah.
got responsibilities and all the rest
Hmm.
of it. So I ended up having to get a real job, which just happened to land in my lap pretty much because it's down the road. It was down the road from where I lived,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of difference between the music industry and the speaking industry.
No.
It's all showbiz, but what we
Hmm.
do, corporate showbiz.
Yeah. Understand.
So the synergy was there straight away.
Perfect. Yeah, it's really interesting, and the fact that you've never obviously got onto the stage, but it makes sense because obviously you had that experience of managing tours and music.
I
So
had to go on stage. Sorry, I had to go on
yeah.
stage once. I was
Okay.
a tour manager.
Yeah.
10 seconds I introduced the band, and it was maybe the worst 10 seconds of my life.
Yeah, and also it's not just the 10 seconds you're on stage, it's all the nerves and apprehension that comes before that as well.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
And then probably
So,
afterwards looking back and feeling annoyed at yourself for how bad it went or for what you did or didn't say.
yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to do it, and I'd
Mm.
like to want to be able to do it, but neither.
No, no, no. Well, you can do it voyeuristically through watching the people that you put on the stages to see how amazing they are. Great. So it's really interesting because a lot of the people we have on the podcast are the speakers. So they talk about what it's like to be on the stage. But it'd be great just to get as much insight as we can out of you today. What happens, behind the stage. So let's talk about, you've got a speaker on your books, you're their agent. What's it like trying to find them speaking gigs? Is it hard work? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it can be. It obviously depends who it is.
Mm.
I'm freelance now, working for myself, and I look after 3 or 4 specific people. A couple of them are celebrities in their own
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
So one of the guys who look after Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Maiden, an aviation entrepreneur, commercial pilot, and all the rest of it. It's not that hard to find Bruce work
Mm.
because he's a global rock star,
Yeah.
and so everyone knows who he is.
Hmm.
Although it was quite hard to start with because obviously people were like, "Well, what can a rock star think to me?" They
Mm.
think rock star, they think Ozzy Osbourne,
Yeah.
whereas Bruce is obviously a very different animal to Ozzy Osbourne. And then I've got other guys who aren't as well known but are in their field, and that's a harder sell. I mean, you were talking about what's it like to be on stage as a speaker and what is, the fraughtness of it beforehand and stuff. I mean, I look at Bruce, he gets on stage to 100,000 people and sings, and God knows how he does it.
No.
Completely different animal to someone
Yeah.
like, but everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses in
Yeah.
speaking. Mine. Um, I'm always loath, and I always was when I was at Celebrity Speakers, just to take people on as a speaker because, especially if that's their day job,
Mm.
their lives are in your hands.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to promise people stuff that they can deliver. I can get them speaking engagements, sure, but maybe I can't get someone enough to earn a living from it, if that's their day job. Where someone like Bruce, obviously his day job is a rock star.
Yeah.
And when he's not touring, he can do speaking engagements. Brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
if I get 10 a year, 20 a year, he doesn't mind because it's not his bread and butter.
Got it.
And that's the difference. I look after 3 other guys. Ronin Horsfall, who is a former SAS soldier, and he was at the Iranian embassy in '82 now, and he's gone on to become an entrepreneur. He's sort of a bit between Bruce and someone who earns his living from it. And another guy called Geoff Burch, who's an alternative business guru, and it is his living. So there's more pressure for someone like Geoff, or for me to find engagement with someone like Geoff than with someone like Bruce. But it all depends on who the speaker is, what they're going to bring to the audience, on whether I would then make a decision on whether I would, competently be able to deliver what they want.
Got it. So I want to ask a couple of questions on the back of that. So we've got the celebrity speaker, Iron Maiden. He's got the name, he's got the draw already. And what about someone who's an aspiring speaker, never been in a band, they've not been in the SAS, they don't have this amazing, incredible backstory, but they still really want to get into the speaking industry.
You're talking about yourself now.
What can they bring to the table? Possibly myself. What could they bring to the table, do you think?
Well, it depends, of course, what they're going to be speaking on, what the story is. Everyone's got a story. But it depends on what you can impart from your story to the audience and whatever knowledge you're going to give them. It all depends on what the brief is from the organizer, whether they want a motivational speaker, they want a finance speaker, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not just someone, right, I'm going to be a speaker. You've got to have something to say. And not only that, you've got to have something that people want to listen to and want to hear about and will inspire the audience. Because like I say, the speaking industry, in my opinion, is corporate showbiz.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a conference, you've got a few speakers in a day, and you've got one that's an outside guest speaker. That's the turn, if you like. That's going to be the one that inspires the audience, because the CEO of the company and the finance, they're not going to be able to inspire the audience. They want to see someone that's going to uplift them. So it depends on what that speaker is going to be speaking about and the story they're going to.
You've mentioned the word audience at least 7 times in that little segment there. So I think that's really important to think about. If you do want to become a speaker, it's which type of audience do you want to speak to? Is it corporate? Is it life coaches? Is it sports people? Whatever that is, who are the audience? And then you also mentioned what value can you add to that audience? So I guess there are two distinctions to make if you're thinking about getting into this industry.
Yeah, you don't want to put the cart before the horse.
No.
Ultimately, someone is going to be paying you to speak at their event. You've got to deliver what that person who's paying you wants you to deliver.
Yeah.
That is obviously going to be. Sometimes the speaker makes or breaks the event for the client. The person who's writing the bill. If the speaker's no good, they're the ones that are going to get it in the neck. So they're not taking the life in your hands for you, but you've got to be confident in what you're delivering. And in regards to being the speaker with the audience, you've obviously got to take that into account as well. So it's a bit of a balance in it. You've got to deliver what the fee-paying person wants you to deliver, but you've also got to connect with the audience.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Be interesting to talk about what else goes into creating a package for a speaker. So the speaker on stage delivering their content is one element, but then you've got to think about the website, the brochure, the show reels, the videos. Like, do you work on all of that with the speakers to really help them build their brand positioning?
Well, most of them have got that already.
Yeah.
I mean, a video is a necessity.
Yeah.
Back when I started in '96, I used to send proposals over to clients by fax.
Yeah, of course.
Which, this is how long ago it was. Try sending a proposal with photographs over by fax. It's not easy. And video was, there certainly was nothing online. There was no internet. There was certainly no websites. But now everyone wants to see a video, and rightly so, because those tools are there. So you've got to make use of them. If someone's going to pay you thousands of pounds to speak at their event, they at least want to know now that you can stand up, be competent in speaking without falling over.
Yeah.
Least they can ask.
Yeah, and that's quite important when you're starting out. That's probably one of the main reasons to do free speaking gigs at the beginning, to build your craft, but also to capture footage of you actually doing that.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. It's where you're going to cut your teeth, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're a global name in your own right anyway, and you want to become a speaker, then everyone knows who you are and everyone's seen you on the telly or whatever. And you don't really have to do that so much.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if you're an unknown, no one's going to take you, no matter how good your agent is or your speaker manager, no one's going to take their word for it without being able to see something to prove what they're saying. They're not going to pay you thousands of pounds without actually seeing that you can do what they think you can do, what someone's trying to sell you to do.
So in your years as an agent, then have you only ever found people paid gigs, or have you actually found people free gigs as well?
No, just paid because
Just
as
paid.
an
Yeah.
agent, it's obviously my living.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, would a band go out and sorry, something out? Would a band go out and play for nothing?
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
So no, I don't. I can advise. I would advise people if I think someone's got potential, and could go somewhere with it. I can give them advice on what to do. And if someone wanted a speaker for nothing, came to me and said, "Oh, we've got a charity, or we need a speaker for nothing." If I had someone that I could do that for, I'd put them both in touch with each other and say, "Easy,
Mm.
man,
Yeah.
like yourself,"
Yeah.
and sort of fix it like that. But I don't. It's not an agent's job.
No, no, okay, perfect. So I guess the advice is there, do free speaking to start with, cut your teeth, practice your
Yeah,
craft, capture footage as well.
yeah. If you're starting from scratch,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. And then what about someone starting from scratch who isn't quite sure on the topic? Like, what's the best way to create a 60-minute talk and choosing what that topic is? Like, should that be based on a story? Should it be based on one key takeaway? What advice have you got about content?
First of all, I'd make it 45 minutes
45, yeah, makes
because
sense.
they did a study. Someone did a study. After 45 minutes, people's attention wanes.
Hmm.
Know who you are, and after 60 minutes, forget it.
Yeah,
It could be Obama.
yeah,
After that, the human brain doesn't have the capacity to stay for that attention. So, in regards to the topic, it all depends who the person is and what they're going to be talking about.
hmm
40% of the market, I would say, has always been about inspiration and motivation.
yeah,
And what background someone's from, the audience want to be inspired. No matter where you're coming from. So that is certainly the lion's share of the market. It's quite a broad brush. But in regards to what you're going to be speaking on, that's really dependent on who you
mm.
are,
Yeah, makes
your
sense.
expertise is. Anyone, it's not like anyone could be a speaker. Right, I'm going to learn how to stand on the stage and speak. You've got to have something to say,
Yeah, yeah,
and you've got to have something people want to listen to. So you've got to have a specific topic in mind or specific idea. If you're a finance person, obviously you're going to be talking about the economic climate. If you're a sports star, you're going to be inspiring people with your story.
yeah,
So you're going to have a good idea what you can talk about. It's not like you've got a blank sheet of paper and say, right, I'm going to be a speaker. What should I talk about?
yeah, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Don't become a leadership speaker if you've never been in a leadership role or don't have any
Yeah,
experience or
yeah.
capability on the topic of
I mean, they're
leadership.
called thought leaders and
Yeah,
consultants. Just a load of nonsense.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
maybe I
yeah,
shouldn't say that.
yeah. No, it makes
Consultants,
complete sense.
consultants that have never done a day's work in their life. How can they talk about stuff? But
Yeah, it makes complete sense. So, quite a topical one. Well, it was topical a couple of years ago. We've just had a global pandemic, which pretty much wiped out the in-person speaking industry. What did you do for yourself and with your clients to really help quickly transition during that time to virtual speaking?
what I do,
Yeah.
COVID changed everything for everyone.
Hmm.
And I was a celebrity speaker for 25 years. And during COVID, I was on furlough, and I just decided, you know what, I quite like this work-life balance. If
Hmm.
I don't get out now, I'm never going to get out.
Yeah.
I jumped,
Yeah.
became freelance. Um, for a while, virtual was obviously the only game in town. There was a bit of a conflict, well, not conflict, but difference of opinions. The company I was at decided virtual was the way forward. I
Hmm.
always knew virtual was only going to be there as
Temporary.
long as it lasted until
Yeah.
you could get together. People are people; they want to be with people.
Did it? Yeah.
No, there's now a hybrid. People can afford other speakers that they wouldn't normally be able to afford if they had a virtual. But the reason you have a conference is for people to sit next to people and be with people because
Yeah.
we're social animals. Um, so my I think people learnt a lot from that in regards to, I'd never been on Zoom. I never knew what Zoom was.
Mm.
Luddite when it comes to technology. And I'm not saying I'm an expert now, but I can do this.
Yeah.
I know how to do this now.
Yeah.
I've never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gave people another platform. And it worked for a lot of people. And they can still do it. If you have a briefing call with a speaker and a client, they more often than not will do it over Zoom.
Yeah.
You can glean a lot more face to face looking at
Mm-hmm.
people than you can on a telephone call.
Yeah, yeah, cost saving, and I guess for the speakers as well, no longer having to international travel, no longer having to be away from the family for 2 to 3 days for a speaking gig.
Yeah, but it's still the lion's share is still going to be a face to face.
Yeah, yeah,
Conferences is all about.
definitely. So it looks like we're going back into that real face to face stuff with a little bit of hybrid, and we'll see what's next. We'll see if the technology improves, and watch this space, I guess.
Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, I've asked you lots of questions, got loads of great value there. If anyone listening to this wants to speak to you about, working with you, or in fact booking one of your speakers, what's the best place, or where's the best place for them to go to reach out to you?
Well, my own website's just being built. I mean, so I look after 3 or 4 people, but I'm still all things to all men.
Yeah.
I can deliver a world famous sports person. I can deliver a UK centric economist, whatever people want. The joy about what I do now is I do it with the client for the client.
Got it.
I can deliver the right speaker to exactly what they want. Whereas before, when you're working for a company, you've got targets. People want you to sell specific speakers, and you're trying to pigeonhole or put people in square pegs in the round holes.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to do that now. My commissions are lower. I can put what I think is the right speaker, and I can work totally hand in hand with the client to deliver that person, to make sure it's the right person. And whether it be one of the guys I look after, or whether it be one of the thousands of other people that I can get hold of. It's about ideas. It's about creative ideas, new speakers, exciting speakers. So they can get me at the moment on work with Speakers Associates. So Dave at speakersassociates.com, or my number is, I'll give you my number.
I'll pop it in the show notes. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put a link to your LinkedIn. I'll put a link to your email, and then once your website's ready to go live, we'll put that into the show notes as well.
Yeah.
So people
I mean, Speakers Associates have got their own website as well, so you can go to that. But you can contact me, Dave. And if there's anyone out there that is looking for a speaker to speak at their events, needs ideas, needs new, fresh ideas, not the same old names, or someone hopefully they can trust, which I'd like to think I am.
Yeah.
I've been on the block a few times and I've got more experience than most in the world of speaking agencies. Then please be in touch, and I'll try and help you.
Fantastic. And your network from 1996 to now must be significant. So, like you said, you can connect the right people with the right people in this industry.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning, from Neil Armstrong and Pele to Bruce Dickinson to the Sugar Babes to all sorts of weird and wonderful people. Because there'll always be something there for someone.
Absolutely.
Someone wants a comedian, then I can deliver. Someone wants a sports star, I can do that. If you want a rock star, a finance expert, whatever,
Fantastic. There's going to be a good need for lots of finance experts in the UK right now.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully not too many now, but you never know.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you coming along and sharing such great value with our audience.
No, you're welcome, Tom. Nice to see you.